What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation Forecast, episode 37. I am, until proven otherwise, your host, Alex Derrickson, and I hope you guys are doing great. We're coming towards the end of the year. It's nuts. Coming up quickly, really, on the 1-year anniversary of this show. I know it was like the end of March or whatever, but still, where did the year go? I find myself asking that a lot. Where has 2018 gone? It's been a hell of a year for games. Been playing a lot. Got a lot to catch up on. As it winds down, we're getting closer. You know, I talked about this on the Twitters and the Instagrams about, Game of the Year is winding down and you're still trying to catch up on these other games I got to finish up on. So worked on that these last 7 days as the additional videos on the YouTube channel kind of are winding down to. There's maybe 1 or 2 non-episodes of the show videos I want to do before 2018 wraps up. But so I started getting to work on the games I've been missing out on rather. So I started with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now this doubles. This is like a double review kind of deal. Not only is this going to be a little review on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I played it through Google's Project Stream, which is something we've talked about months and months and months and months and months ago. But I finally spent some actual dedicated time in there. I hate Assassin's Creed. I hate it. I've hated it since the first one. I thought they were boring. I heard the second one was great. I asked, do I need to play the first one to understand the second one? Someone said probably, and I said no. No thank you. Often when referring to Assassin's Creed, I frequently tweet Cartman from South Park on the zip line talking about how bored he is. That's how I feel when I play Assassin's Creed. The closest I have come since then is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but that came out in that period in which I frequently talk about where I just didn't want anything to do with games. I was burnt out on them, despite the fact the PS4 had just launched. And I just kind of backed away from the series entirely. I just decided it wasn't for me. Then Origins came out, and I thought, okay, this is a step in the right direction. It's a little long. It's a little, it was too much. It felt like too much going on. And I was like, at the time, there's so many other things I wanted to play, so many other things that I wasn't concerning myself with, I wasn't doing a show like this where I felt like I needed to play everything that came out in a year. So Odyssey comes out, right? And Odyssey's tricky with me. I don't like this franchise. I am a known detractor of this franchise. I've made no bones about declaring my hatred for this series. But I love ancient Greece. And I love Greek mythology. I love the Iliad. I love the Odyssey. I love all the things surrounding them. Really, really like that stuff. I think they're absolutely fantastic stories of myth and monster and legend. And so this had my attention when it was announced. I thought, if you go back and if you remember my E3 predictions, I said this thing was going to be an early 2019 game, but it looks like they're, as it came out, it was later this year, and also is going to be supported through 2019, as there is no new Assassin's Creed for this coming year. They're going to focus on Odyssey. So I thought, okay, maybe I should hunker down. So I thought about getting it, and there's that time commitment, there's all that other stuff. So Google's Project Stream comes out, and this is the most circuitous manner I could get to saying how I feel about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But Google's Project Stream comes out, and they're like, you can play Odyssey sign up. If you're in, you can play Odyssey for free until the middle of January through a Google Chrome web browser. And this is more Google, in terms of a pissing contest. This is Google whipping their dick out and joining. This is them going like, yeah, we're Google, we're here, check what we can do. You can play Assassin's Creed Odyssey through a Google Chrome web browser. Now I said, that sounds great. We're not there yet. That is not where we are in technology in 2018. But I sign up, because I love me a good gimmick. I get the email from Google shortly mid late October, and they're like, you're in. Not only here's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, here's $10 for you to spend in game. Now, you've heard me talk about how Odyssey is a game that does not respect your time. It does not appreciate the effort that the player is putting in, and there's that grind. So I immediately immediately put the $10 towards the XP booster because that's just I'm not wasting my time there. Finally, this weekend, get some time to get in there. Really, really log a couple hours in. I like it. I'm really liking it. I think it's something I'll pick up on sale. Because I mean, with like next year, like early next year, I could see myself really getting into this. It's massive. It is a massive world. It's a massive game. And right now, just don't have the time for it. You know, I gotta start getting a little insular towards the end of the year, focusing on the stuff I've got to get done, and then really taking the last few weeks of the year to just relax and breathe. Uh, Odyssey is not that game. It is a game that doesn't demand your attention, but it definitely wants it. It thirsts for it in a way. I love the atmosphere. I love the colors, the lighting. The gameplay is really solid. We're going to get to another open world third person game here in a second. But I think for some Assassin's Creed fans, I know they've complained that this isn't an Assassin's Creed game anymore. They've drifted away from the formula. And I say good. I like this. I'm enjoying my time with it. I'm going to miss it. I think it's the 13th in January when I don't have it anymore. I'm gonna miss being able to just pop in a web browser and play it. I think that's cool as hell. And if you want my thoughts on Google's Project Stream, it's incredible. Like there's no reason this should work. There's no reason I should be able to get on Chrome, open up a tab, click a link, and be able to play fully fleshed out, multiple like 60 plus hour AAA open world RPG. And I think this game was picked deliberately, right? Like they picked Odyssey for a reason. And because this is something that you could have done with like Undertale, or this is something you could have done with I don't know, a smaller, more indie. You could have done this with Shovel Knight. You could have done this with like an Axiom Verge. Something smaller that'd be like, hey, look, like we can do this. But no. They went hard at this idea to show that, hey, we can do this, and they do this. They can do this 100%. I played it for about 2 hours, like consecutively. Didn't run into any lag. Small input lag issues. In terms of gameplay lag, there was none. But input lag, there was like 1.25 instances of it. Loaded great. This is full HD. They were saying, I think they said that you can do it in 1080 60, and no. It was 1080, I'd say, but definitely a hard 30 on the frames. But it's incredible. We are here. We are at a point where we can do this. I don't know if you get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people slamming into the server to get it, if that would, be a detriment to the process and to the look and the feel and what Google's trying to accomplish. But for the couple times I've been able to pop in, I have been able to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey in a Chrome web browser, and I cannot believe it. But really, really enjoying it. Both the game and Google's service. Now moving on to another third-person game, a much more popular one, a much more technical marvel is Red Dead Redemption 2. I picked it up. I figured I got to play this. Let's play this. I put it in. I endured the however long 105 gigabyte install. It's not my game. It's not for me. So I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Red Dead pretty much side by side for the ability to kind of juxtapose these two. Red Dead is 100% the most technically impressive game I've ever played. There's that New York Times article that's like, cowboys are selling money. Is games art? And this game is art. This game is absolutely a masterclass in what this console generation has been able to accomplish and what the future holds. Like just the way hair looks, the waist, the snow deformation. It's everything about it is incredibly impressive. an incredibly just like I said, it is a masterclass in game development and execution and having a goal. My problem with Red Dead is the fact that it is boring. I I like the West. I like westerns. They're not my genre of choice, obviously, but like this game is boring as hell. And I know everyone's like, wait till chapter 4, it opens up. I don't want to wait till chapter 4 for it to open up and get great. You know, like I can appreciate the game for what it is. Definitely. Like without reproach. Like this is the most impressive looking game I've ever seen. But I think beyond the technical execution, it is Rockstar at its most pompous. Like this is you got to keep your horse clean. You got to keep your horse tame. And there's the horse bonding. That sounds awesome. Like that sounds like something that's totally up my alley. But it's within mechanics of making sure you're clean and making sure you're fed, but not too much so you don't get too fat. It's making sure that you open the drawer with X but close it with triangle, that you have to bring up your weapon wheel and cycle through 2 other menus to get to food, to consume the food so your stamina doesn't go down too far. It's so many other things that there's almost I feel like there should have been a meeting where they put up everything that they wanted in Rockstar or in Red Dead 2 and then said, "Okay, let's do 70% of that." On the heels of Vice City, San Andreas got into working out to the point where you got that really weird buff, like, you know, multiple right angle arm guy that's too big to walk down the street or whatever. But it got kind of too in its own rock starness, and I think Red Dead is guilty of that too. Uh, like I said, it's so pretty. It is the new standard in the way a video game can and should look going forward. Uh, and in terms of like the minutia and everything we've read and everything we've seen in the game, but in terms of the gameplay, I just do not give a shit about this game. And that's not to say when Game of the Year comes, you know, and we start talking and spitballing titles, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and say like, "Oh, Red Dead's not even on the cut. It doesn't make the list." It makes the cut. It is definitely one of the best games of the year, but in terms of the gameness of it, I could think of so many other things I'd rather be playing and not having to wait for it to get good. Next thing I played was Celeste. Celeste is amazing. Yeah, right. I'm jumping from this 4K, absolutely majestic open world, incredibly detailed horse ball game to 8-bit platformer. But goddamn, is Celeste not great? And you know how much I hate difficult games. What Celeste does with that difficulty is it doesn't punish you for trying things. Like I think that really builds into the theme of the game is you shouldn't be afraid to try and fail and try and fail and try and fail. It's kind of the whole point. But you know, you die and within seconds you're back to where you were and to try it again. And if you die, you start back and try again. You die, you start back and try again, and you just do it until you get it. And that feeling of when you get it, it's not like in Dead Cells where you die, you start wherever you are in the game and you die. You start all the way back at the beginning. You've lost things, you have to go back, recollect them. There's none of that. It's just climb this mountain and just get there. However you have to do it, there's definitely a way to do it. You've got to find it. And I love that. And I love the fact that I can be bad at a game but still progress forward and feel good about it. I made the joke on Twitter that I finished the first chapter and I went, I wonder how many times I die. I'd guess around 40. And a game that came up with like, you died 165 times. And I went, that sounds about right. And the other thing about it too, getting into the music of it, since y'all know how much I love video game music, is the fact that like in the first chapter, I was listening to the same song like for like an hour and a half maybe, trying to get through this chapter, and I never got tired of it. Like it was calming. It was relaxing. It was kind of something that really did serve as the right level distraction. Uh, and it's is a really really special game, and it felt special the second like I got in there and started moving and felt how tight the platforming was and how like just specific I needed to be and deliberate I needed to be with each move and decision that I made. Like it's a special game. Especially, I think it was coming off of what? It was Towerfall? From Matt Makes Games. Like this is his next thing, and this is real good. Is a real good game. Last thing I played, then we'll get into the rigmarole and the housekeeping because 15 minutes in, nothing like 15 minutes of me just talking about stuff I've been playing. But it's nice. I don't get this time to play a lot of stuff this often. Last thing I played, as you know, last week picked up the VR. Friend of the show Dan sent me a copy of Astrobot Rescue Mission to play, and holy shit! So Astrobot was really one of like the 3 or 4 driving factors in me wanting to get a VR. So there was Astrobot, there was Creed, which I still need to play, Tetris Effect, and Beat Saber. And so I finally got into Astrobot thanks to Dan. Thank you, Dan. And it's the comparisons to Mario 64 are a little hyperbolic in terms of like Mario 64 is to 3D platforming what Astrobot is to VR, but it's damn close as a damn close comparison. I don't think it's as fully revolutionary. I think in terms of like its tail, that's not something I think we can really draw that final comparison to for a couple of years. But to have a fully fledged like functioning, not a demo, not like a techie space kind of deal, not like a game you show your dad. It's a game you show your dad, sure, but it's also a fully fleshed out 3D platformer done entirely in VR. Like from all angles, full 360, everything. It looks good, it plays great, it's adorable, it's so much fun. That game, if there was a game for 2018 that I would say is 100% just pure joy, it's Astrobot Rescue Mission. I don't want to get too much more into the details of these 4 games because we got Game of the Year coming up, and we're going to have to make my arguments, I feel like, for some of these for and against. So we're gonna move on there. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every Tuesday on youtube.com/PressX to Alex and podcast services around the globe. And if you like the show and you want your voice to be heard too, remember, you can always write in to psforms.pressxtoalex.com where you can submit your questions, comments, commentary, concerns, and all things otherwise, whatever. Let's just chat. And if you want to just talk to me in general, you can always find me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressxtoalex. And remember, this little labor of love is entirely self-produced and self-funded by yours truly. So the best thing you can do to support the show besides writing in and letting your voice be heard is, of course, to share it, put it on the internet, let other people hear it. Don't be greedy. Share this with people. We got to spread the word. We got to make this officially the 5th most popular PlayStation podcast on the internet instead of me just saying it's the 5th most popular PlayStation 4 podcast on the internet. Housekeeping. See, I teased a secret. The secret is out on, what month is it? December 13th. At Taft's Brewporium on Spring Grove Avenue. If you live in or around the Cincinnati area, you will be able to find me at Taft's Brewporium on Spring Grove Avenue from 5 to 8, where I will be playing video games there and raising money for Extra Life and Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Here's how it works. You show up, you pay $1, you can play against or with me in a game. I'm going to have a PlayStation there with some games installed on it. If you want to bring your own and it's not a massive amount of install time, we can do that too. $1 will go straight to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. It'll go 100% towards there. We're going to break the goal. My goal was 500. I'm sitting at 255. We're going to break this goal. That's my plan. Taft's will match every donation, and then I believe $1 of every beer sale will go towards Cincinnati Children's Hospital as well, and the goal at Extra Life, which is awesome. I'm really excited about it. So if you want to hang out, play some games, drink some beer, and you live in or around Cincinnati, December 13th, from 5 to 8 at Taft's Brewporium on Spring Grove Avenue. And, as always, the links for this event can be found in the episode description on both the video and podcast file. All right. Well, without further ado, let's get into the news. First news story is your December 2018 PlayStation Plus games. This comes from James Hallahan over at the PlayStation blog. First up, we have Soma. Dive into this sci-fi horror title from Fictional Games, the creators of Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It is an unsettling story about identity, consciousness, and what it means to be human. Delve through the locked terminals and secret documents to uncover the truth behind the ocean waves. Next, we have Onrush, the all-action, gravity-defying racing game. Drive on the very limits of control in an effort to win victory for your team. The game is action-packed and full of unlockable customization options. This month's PlayStation Plus lineup also includes Steriden on PS3, Steins Gate on PS3, Iconoclasts on PS Vita cross-buy with PS4, and motherfucking Papers, Please for PS Vita. All games will be available from December 4th, 2018 to January 1st, 2019. The article continues, for Warframe players looking for a healthy set of extra resources, Digital Extremes dev team has you covered. The Warframe PlayStation Plus Booster Pack 3 has a little bit of everything to jumpstart your game. This includes 100 Platinum, 100,000 credits, Quanta, a Corpus laser rifle, Quanta Obsidian skin, 7-day affinity booster, and a 7-day credit booster. PS Plus members can get the pack for free from now until January 15th, 2019. So if you're one of them Warframe dorks, you got that too. That's good. Is it good? Put it in the comments if it's good. I don't know. I don't Warframe. Let me know if that's good. Every month we get closer to when the PS3 and PS Vita games are no longer part of PlayStation Plus, and we still don't know what the plan is to fill that void, or if that void will even be filled. The Papers, Please is awesome. That's a really good one. I've heard really good things about Iconoclasts. Excited to get in there. Steins Gate, I believe, is a visual novel, and Steriden is I don't know. But I'm excited to play Soma, even though I'm not a huge spoopy game guy. I'll probably check that out. Onrush looks pretty cool, but I'm most excited for sure about Papers, Please. Next bit of news is the FTC loot box investigation. This comes from Colin Campbell over at Polygon. To date, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission's public involvement into video game loot boxes has been restricted to a single word. In a Congressional Oversight Committee meeting on Tuesday, FTC Chairman Joe Simons replied, "Yes," to a request from Senator Maggie Hassan, a Democrat from New Hampshire, the organization look into and report back on loot boxes. So what happens now? And is the FTC likely to hand down legal restrictions on loot boxes? These in-game devices offer consumers a chance to win in-game items, sometimes in exchange for cash. They have been compared to gambling. Reached for comment, an FTC spokesperson said, "We don't have anything to add at this point," to Simon's affirmation, but the commission has a standard set of procedures that it follows when investigating either individual companies or entire industries, which offer useful clues to future events. I, Colin, not me, spoke to Bill Rothbard, a former FTC lawyer who now specializes in FTC-related work. He said, quote, "They have a number of different procedures, avenues, and remedies to pursue an investigation," he said. Continuing, "If they are looking at a practice that is industry-wide, like loot boxes, they have the statutory authority to initiate a rulemaking proceeding." End quote. A rulemaking proceeding is essentially a public meeting in which interested parties get to present their cases to the FTC. Game company representatives would be required to face questions from the FTC on loot boxes. Public interest, consumer groups, and anti-loot box campaigners, such as those who believe the practice is a gateway to gambling, would state their views, including any research findings. Quote, "The FTC would determine if loot boxes are unfair or deceptive," explained Rothbard. "If so, that would warrant the promulgation of a regulation that would cover the entire industry," end quote. The FTC has the authority to pass rules that have the force of law. In theory, the FTC could call a rulemaking procedure and implement a ban on loot boxes. However, that is an unlikely scenario. Quote, "There was a time in the late 70s and early 80s when the FTC initiated numerous proceedings against entire industries," said Rothbard. "Children's advertising, tobacco, the funeral industry, and real estate, for example. But I can't think of one that covers an entire industry in the last several years," end quote. Rothbard said the FTC is less liberal than in the past and is reluctant to pass new rules governing entire industries, but an investigation has been promised and will go ahead. This will likely take the form of letters sent out by FTC staff attorneys to game companies requesting information about their businesses and how loot boxes work. Quote, "They'll want to know how they market loot boxes, how they impact their business, and anything else that's relevant," end quote, said Rothbard. If the game companies are slow to respond, the FTC has the option of sending out a civil investigative demand, which has the force of a subpoena requiring all companies to respond in full. The game companies are represented at government level by trade body, the Entertainment Software Association, or ESA. It is likely that the ESA will step in and negotiate directly with the FTC, stating that game companies' case for loot boxes. The ESA's statement to the media this week offers some clue to its strategy, which cleaves to a firm denial that loot boxes are connected with gambling. Quote, "Loot boxes are one way that players can enhance the experience that video games offer," the ESA said. "Contrary to assertions, loot boxes are not gambling. They have no real-world value. Players always receive something that enhances their experience, and they are entirely optional to purchase. They can enhance the experience for those who choose to use them, but have no impact on those who do not," end quote. The article kind of continues, just drawing comparisons of various kinds of loot boxes and microtransactions between the Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco, the Fortnite Season Pass, and so on. I don't want to take up Colin's whole article here. That wouldn't be nice to me, or need be nice to him, or nice of me. So check that out. It is on Polygon. Kind of going a step further, just my 2 cents here of whether or not loot boxes are gambling. My issue with loot boxes is not whether or not they are gambling or a gateway to gambling. I can see the argument that can be made there, right? I think they're scummy in a way. I think a place like Fortnite or a game like Fortnite does them well, where it's no real benefit to those that purchase them. It's more or less just like, hey, like you can make your guy look cool. But then you get into, excuse me, you get into things more along the lines of like what 2K came under fire for with NBA 2K18 and subsequently NBA 2K19, which doesn't appear to have gotten any better. You get into like how Grand Theft Auto or GTA 5 specifically, has grown, exponentially solely on the online play, which is powered by microtransactions. They're prevalent. I mean, we've gotten that that aspect of the mobile market has permeated and metastasized its way into the video game market. But I think there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And if you're doing it how Battlefront 2 initially was, which was pay to win, or how NBA 2K can let you do it if you get the extra special collector's super edition that has the 150,000 VC that you can all put towards your creative player, that's unfair. You shouldn't be able to pay more money for a distinct advantage like that. That's to me is when the line starts getting crossed. In terms of whether or not loot boxes are gambling, I think by direct definition alone, they are not. I understand the sights and the sounds and spectacles and the animations that are done when a loot box is opened in game, or an Ultimate Team pack in Madden or FIFA or anything like that. I get that. It's real cool looking. But when you kind of factor in what gambling is, right? Gambling is, giving a machine, just distilling gambling down to giving a machine $5, and you might get $5, you might get $500, you might get $0, and that is the risk you take. There's no loot box or microtransaction where you're basically just giving something $10 and getting absolutely nothing in return, right? Like, you're not just being like, hey, here's $5 for GTA Online, and they're like, you don't get the currency this time, sorry. That you're exchanging goods for services, right? In some capacity, whether they're physical or not. So I don't think they meet the textbook definition of gambling. I think the the auditory and visual responses are that, are of such, but it's not, you're still getting something in return. It might not be what you want, but you're still getting something in return. Just at the behest of a random number generator, basically. Though I think the middle ground, if we're gonna have to meet in the middle between the government getting involved and possibly just fucking everything up and things just being as they are, I think there is a middle ground there, and that middle ground is what we see. I think it's in Japan or China, maybe, where if you're going, it has to be like, hey, you have a chance at this extremely rare thing, but that chance is 0.025%. And you're really making it clear that, like, hey, you're probably not going to get the thing that you're wanting, that you're paying for, but you're still getting stuff. You just need to know going in, like, hey, you have this good or not good of chance of getting it. Whether that spreads or whether it just gets to the ESA and their agreement is, making sure every game with microtransactions is plastered with a sticker that says, hey, in-game purchases can be made on this. It's tricky. Like I said, everything gets tricky when kids are involved, right? Because they're not fully, they're still developing the brains. They're developing. They got developing brains is what I'm getting to. And, they might, it's easy if your credit card's saved in your system to just, keep buying virtual currency for a game or whatever. And we see it, we saw it for like a year and a half of just 50 stories of just like 8-year-old keeps buying Candy Crush money with his mom's card. And that's just something that can happen. You just gotta put a lock on that shit. But I think there's a middle ground to be met. And just because the FTC is getting involved doesn't mean anything can become of it. They could very well just look into it and go, nope, not gambling, stay as you are. But I think that's the government's history with involvement in video games has never really panned out, especially when we're in an era where games are still getting blamed for violence, and violent video games are still getting the finger pointed at them as a deflection for gun violence in our country and what have you. It's a scapegoat and it's a cop-out. And I think it starts and ends with making sure video games are recognized for the medium that they are, and that they should be held to the same level and same esteem as movies and shows or TV and music and things like that. Like, this is all art. This is all entertainment, and they should be treated as such. Now, if the government gets involved like they did with violence and the kind of like mitigated point is a rating system, and that's what we have to do again with the FTC and loot boxes, we'll see. But I think there's a middle ground to be met there. And like I said, their investigation could just be them going like, nah, that's fine. And that's the end of it. Next news story here is the fallout from Fallout 76, because this is a mess. There's multiple sources here. We're going to start over at Game Informer with Imran Khan and the possible class action lawsuit that Bethesda is facing with Fallout 76. It's a lot. So just kind of the precursor. The prequel to this is when the beta was launching, and I think it was Todd Howard got on Twitter and was like, hey, this game's going to be buggy as hell. It's going to be broken in points. We're expecting a lot of bugs. Just kind of know that when you're coming into it. And everybody's just kind of been like, it's Bethesda. Their games get buggy. The Fallout games, especially, like their open world games, are kind of notoriously buggy to an extent. It's forgivable. We move on, right? Like, you look at the PS3 version of Skyrim, and that shit never worked. And it's to the point now where I think they've fucked up to the beyond the fact where that's forgivable, and it's kind of like a fucking up in perpetuity. But so it started. The game launched kind of a critical flop. There's been people that have enjoyed it or whatever, but from a critical aspect, the game's buggy. It's broken. Actually, I reached out because I have not played it, and I have no intentions to play it, especially now. But I reached out to people on Twitter, and let's see here. The save room replied, "It feels unfinished, empty, and doesn't feel like it knows how to properly accommodate for an always online environment. The best things about it aren't new, 76, but a rip from previous first-person Fallouts." It's kind of the vibe I'm getting is it's where to go with this? How to do this before we get into this is I don't know in what universe that Bethesda thought this engine would be good for an always online game, right? An engine whose known quantity is how buggy it is, the fact that it can crash, the fact that it is unreliable, it's unstable to a point. Going back, like I said, to Skyrim on PS3 that just never worked. And the same problems, kind of just systemically exist and pervasive into Fallout 4 and the like, and New Vegas and everything. And Bethesda's always just kind of gotten the casual pass. Just it's the stories that we like, right? So you strip that away, and you put this engine as an always online game, and it screams the most analogous draw I can pick from is EA's just insistence that their games run on Frostbite. And Frostbite is an engine designed for first-person shooters. Specifically, it was designed with Battlefield in mind. And it works great in Battlefront. It does not work great in Mass Effect Andromeda, an open-world sci-fi RPG. It does not work great in Madden, a football game. You've got to get the engine that matches the game. And when Mass Effect ran on Unreal, it was fine. It was stable. It was great. There weren't weird melty people. You're not taking a engine designed for a shooter, or specifically a first-person shooter, and strapping it to something that can't support it. It's if you've known me, I hosted an NBA podcast called 48 Minutes. It's still going on. You should check it out. They're really nice guys. I love them very much. But I always talked about in free agency or trades and stuff like that, when you're building a sports team and say you're trading away a player that is a defensive specialist, and in turn you're getting a veteran that's a scorer, or you're getting someone that just only shoots threes, you're not filling that hole appropriately. You're losing someone who specializes in one thing, and you're not replacing him with something that works. I think the point I made was I made this point when Matthew Dellavedova left Cleveland, and Cleveland responded by picking up Deron Williams, and that's not the same. It doesn't work like that. And I think it's the same when it comes to engines and game development. You can't just because it's your own in-house proprietary engine and it's saving you, probably a good amount of cash not to shell out to Epic to use Unreal or anything like that. But you can't just take this engine and expect it to work throughout everything. And we're seeing that. And this goes the same for Bethesda, where you can't just take your Fallout engine or your Elder Scrolls engine and just be like, hey, it's an online game now. And we've seen it work with Elder Scrolls Online, but Elder Scrolls Online was kind of a flop at first, and then they got it off into the right hands, and I think that's what they should do with Fallout 76. That's where I'm going with that. Now, getting into all of this here, going back to Game Informer. The tale of Fallout 76 has been a strange one since its first reveal at E3. Even at the time, it seems Bethesda knew that fans would be uneasy with the new take on Fallout by how often they couched introductions of the game with assurances that it was still Fallout as at its heart. One reaction Bethesda probably did not see coming, however, is a class action lawsuit over the game's buggy nature and Bethesda's reticence to provide refunds. The law firm Migliaccio and Rathod LLP is currently investigating and soliciting clients for a possible class action lawsuit against Bethesda over Fallout 76. According to the firm's class action page, they're hoping to represent players who bought the game and were unhappy with the quality level of the product from a technical perspective. More to the point, they are alleging that Bethesda is refusing refunds on the product. Quote, while minor bugs and glitches are expected with the release of most new games, Fallout 76 launched with a 56 gigabyte patch that has proven to be but a starting point for the game's problems, end quote, the firm writes on the suit's solicitation page. Continuing, quote, gamers who have tried to receive a refund because of the game's myriad glitches have been unable to do so since they downloaded the game, leaving them to deal with an unplayable experience until patches bring it back to a playable state, end quote. There have been a number of reports on Reddit about Bethesda refusing refunds for the game on PC. It is not clear if this is a blanket policy. Bethesda chose not to release Fallout 76 on Steam, which has a 2 hours or 2 weeks return policy on games, opting instead of release only on their Bethesda launcher. Bethesda's own return policy allows for returns on unopened physical items, but zero exceptions for any games bought digitally unless mandated by a law, like in Europe. Class action lawsuits over video games is not a new concept. In 2013, firm Robbins, Geller, Rudman, and Dowd filed a suit against EA alleging that the company made false statements about Battlefield 4 and the bugginess of the game affected its sales. That was a little different because it had more to do with the effect those actions had on shareholder value. In that case, the judges sided with EA. Bethesda has apologized for the radio silence and lack of communication concerning Fallout 76 and outlined a roadmap for future fixes today, and then it links to Game Informer's review. Now, going a step further, over to Kotaku and Luke Plunkett, Bethesda is sending out replacements for the Fallout 76 nylon trash bags. So the backstory to this was when the Ultimate Edition of Fallout 76 was introduced, the $200 collector's edition, right? It was that gigantic helmet and a canvas carrying bag for it. That was it. Just period, full stop. That's the announcement. That's what it is. They've never once backtracked on it. They've never once said, hey, no, or hey, we've had to rethink this or anything like that. And the game ships, people get it, and the helmet is in a nylon bag. Kind of a very poorly made looking one. So someone took to Twitter and said, tweeted a photo of the bag and said, hey, this isn't the West Tech canvas bag. Quote, this is a ghetto ass nylon trash bag. At one point, someone from Bethesda replied to another person complaining. I don't know if it was this person specifically, but their stance was basically, we analyzed the cost of what it was going to take to get these bags made. It was going to be too much. We switched to the nylon bags, and the actual quote was something along the lines of, paraphrasing here, is, we have no plans to do anything about this. So that created an uproar. So Bethesda comes back and they go, hey, sorry about the bag confusion. Here's $5 in in-game currency. 500 atoms it was. That was then pointed out to be not even enough to buy the mailman outfit that carries a canvas bag. $5 in-game currency. That was their we're sorry moment. Now it's gotten to the point, since this is a literal bait and switch, since they've never once been like, hey, prior to the game coming out, we have to switch these nylon bags. Sorry. There's chances, kind of lumping that into a lawsuit. The next thing that came out from there was that influencers on Bethesda's influencer list were sent Fallout 76 with the helmet in the canvas bag as advertised. So on Twitter, I had equated this to, there was a Looney Tunes cartoon where they're playing baseball. I don't remember who it was. It could have been Sylvester. It could have been Wile E. Coyote. I don't remember. They come up to bat. They're holding 3 bats at once. Bugs is pitching. Bugs throws the first pitch. Whoever's batting has all 3 bats, and he swings and misses with all 3 bats. And the ump calls a strikeout because he swung with 3 bats, and so he strikes out with 1 swing. That's what this fucking game is. This is Bethesda striking out with just 1 swing of the bat. They're now going to, if you can provide a proof of purchase by the end of January, you can get the canvas bag. They're going to get them made. They're going to get them printed. The official stance on Twitter as of today at 5:04 p.m. We are finalizing manufacturing plans for replacement canvas bags for the Fallout 76 Power Armor Edition. If you purchase the collector's edition, please visit, they give you a link, and submit a ticket by January 31st, 2019. We will arrange to send you a replacement as soon as the bags are ready. So they're trying to make nice about it. We speak so often about someone like Naughty Dog, who makes just banger after banger after banger, right? When are they going to mess up? When are they going to trip? When are they going to have the Midas touch that doesn't turn something to gold, but rather into mufflers? And we wonder this with almost every developer that seems to strike gold with every game they put out. Bethesda was kind of in the same lump of people, like Wolfenstein was great. Doom was just fucking incredible. Wolfenstein 2, great. Doom Eternal looks great. Fallout 4, buggy but forgivable. Skyrim, buggy but forgivable. Like Fallout 3, game of the year for a lot of people. New Vegas, a lot of people like it more than 3. Like Bethesda has strung together a Time Life greatest hits album of games the last 2 console generations. And you kind of are waiting for that other shoe to drop, and it's here. The shoe has dropped. And granted, this was developed by a team that they acquired, where their first game, I can't remember the studio's original name, but they were working on a game, and it was canceled, and that was going to be their first game, so this is kind of their first game. And I get that, but I don't know why you released this game as is. I don't know why you didn't put it out in January when maybe it wasn't going to get lost in a shuffle or be buried under a bunch of games that could be played at this point too. Like other online shooters like Blackout or, like Red Dead and everything like that. This was an avoidable problem. And that's what gets me about it. Is this could have just been avoided by being like, hey, guess what? The game's not ready yet. We're not there. It's coming, but January or March. A delay, we've said it so many times before, a delay is never bad. It never harms a game to delay it. You might quell the hype, you might put a blanket over the fire for a minute, but those fires are so easy to relight. You just got to show everyone what they want, right? But when you're pulling this game out in the initial response is, okay, we'll see. Like that's, at that point, you should have been like, okay, fucking pump the brakes. Like, let's rethink this. Let's scale it back. Let's throw another piece of bait out there. You throw the bait out there and everybody's just like, nah. And then they're still like, but it's the Fallout that you'll love, but it's different. And it's not like the last week where I was talking about how Jurassic World's okay because it's what you knew but different, or something like The Force Awakens is okay because it's what you know but it's a little different. This is what you hate about this thing you love and then put into something else entirely with just the Fallout name on it. It'd be like if I were like, hey, I really like ham sandwiches with mustard, and someone was like, all right, so what if we gave you a ham sandwich, but instead of ham, it's like tofu, but instead of mustard, it's honey, and instead of bread, it's a cardboard box. But it's still the ham sandwich you love. It's all ham flavored. But it's just, it comes in a box, and the box has raccoons in it. And you have to fight the raccoons, but one of the raccoons has your wife's face. It's like, oh, what? That's not. It's still the ham sandwich you love, right? It's frustrating because all this stuff can be avoided if you just don't put the fucking game out just to hit a release date, just to have a game out this year, right? Like that's what it feels like. It feels like Bethesda put out a game just to have a cash grab. And then the microtransactions and stuff like that, the incentivizing to spend seems to be prevalent, like heavily prevalent in this. It just seems like a fucking mess. And maybe starting with correcting the bags is the right step, but this isn't even. I saw someone compare it to No Man's Sky, and here's the fucking thing: is No Man's Sky worked when it came out. No Man's Sky just got crumbled under its own hype and people's expectations. But they've done a great job at fixing it to be like, hey, look, here's everything for free. What the hell is Bethesda going to do with this? Like, they launched just a fucking turd. They just crapped in their hands and like, here you go, it's Fallout. You play it online. And that's not what we want. Even as a non-Fallout fan, that's not what I would want. Like, no. Just go back, look inward, tail between your legs, go back to your cave, get this shit sorted out, and get it fixed. Because what's going to happen is this is going to come out, and like you're going to spend a year and a half just fixing it, getting it back up to speed. How many players are you going to lose? What's your concurrent player count going to be by the time you're like, hey, this is the game you've wanted? And are you going to be able to get that will back? Are you going to be able to get that kind of like good faith back from the people you've burned? And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how Bethesda approaches E3. Like, you have to get a statement out before then. Like, you can't just go radio silent until June, because then when you're and then what do you do? Do you just immediately come out and be like, hey guys, sorry about that. Here's Doom Eternal. Like, it's just like a Family Feud kind of thing of just like, show me Doom Eternal. Does that make it okay? Are we good? Here's Elder Scrolls 6, and it's another Mountainscape. Are we cool? Fallout 76 is still broken. Are we cool? Like, I don't know where you go from here. I don't know. If you got Fallout 76 and you're digging it, let me know. Tweet at me. Twitter.com/PressXDalex, or comments, or psforums.pressxdalex.com. However you want to reach me, let me know. I want to know more about your Fallout 76 stances. Last couple bits of news here. Sticking with the idea of microtransactions in online games, going to Polygon, Red Dead Online players want Rockstar to change the game's economy. This is from Michael McWhirter. Red Dead Redemption 2 players started exploring the Wild West together with the launch of Red Dead Online's beta earlier this week, and they were soon met with the cold, harsh reality of the game's economy. Missions and multiplayer modes pay out a pittance, and many of Red Dead Online's purchasable items, upgrades, and customizations cost considerable amounts of money. Some of the more egregious examples, players say, are customizations for simple items like your character's starter pistol. As noted in a popular thread on Reddit, customizing the basic revolver to be all black cost a whopping 12 gold bars. By some estimates, it takes roughly 8 hours of play in Red Dead Online to earn a single gold bar, which would make a simple-looking upgrade a huge time investment. Upgrading a rifle costs nearly twice the number of gold bars, and a fully decked-out tent can cost 112 gold bars. And while buying horse insurance for your first horse is cheap and essential, insurance for another horse will cost you multiple gold bars. The amount depends on the quality of said horse. Gold bars are Red Dead Online's premium and rarer currency. You can earn gold nuggets through gameplay, and earning 100 gold nuggets will net you 1 gold bar. 50 Shroot Bucks will get you 1/100th of a vacation day. That's not in the article. Rockstar also plans to sell gold bars for real money at some point for, quote, cosmetic items like camp decor or a special style for your weapons, end quote, though the company hasn't announced pricing. Beyond gold bars is the matter of dollars and cents, and many players are blanching at the high cost of new weapons. A Mauser pistol in Red Dead Online runs $1,000, even though its real-world equivalent was apparently being sold for just $35 during the game's time period. Activities in Red Dead Online pay out a few dollars at a time, and some people have complained of playing for more than a dozen hours but only having a couple $100s to show for it. There were more efficient money-making opportunities, however. You may want to check out our they have a quick guide for making money fast in Red Dead Online. But some players have expressed frustration that playing Red Dead Online can feel like a grind or even a second job. Quote, increased payout for missions, game modes, and stranger quests than most of our problems what we saw. Increased payout for missions, game modes, and stranger quests, then most of our problems will be solved, one Reddit user complained. Another one says, I shouldn't have to. Is this the same one? Yeah, it's the same person. Never mind. Same quote. I shouldn't have to waste 4 to 10 minutes to make $4 to $6 and have my funds be wasted on bullets, food for me, food for my horse, camp costs, and stable costs, spending more than I make. End quote. It's a somewhat valid concern. To keep your character, your horse, and your weapons in good working order, you'll need to spend cash on sustenance items like food, shelter, and gun oil, or you'll perform worse. Quote, shouldn't have to pay more money for your camp, one player wrote. It's a fucking blanket on the ground and a couple empty barrels, end quote. Others feel the pricing for in-game items is simply inconsistent and out of whack. Quote, a gold wedding ring sells for $1.15, a player said in another popular Reddit thread. A can of baked beans costs $1.50, end quote. This has led to jokes that shopkeepers are sitting on stacks of gold bars based on the high price of beans. Then there are some players who seem perfectly fine with how Rockstar is handling Red Dead Online's economy, and that as long as real money microtransactions don't interfere with the game's balance, it's too early to complain. Quote, so many people jumping the gun without the facts, a member of the GTA forums wrote. They play one game and lose and get $1 and base the whole experience off that. At rank 12 and got like $300, bought upgrades for my horse, bought 2 abilities, bought a couple of hats, bought 2 jackets, and I still have a heap of cash. As long as microtransactions play a purely cosmetic role, then I'm not bothered. As soon as it turns pay to win, though, I'm out, end quote. Another person says, quote, everyone's crying wolf before the wolf has even come. Play the game and enjoy it while it's not pay to win and give your feedback to Rockstar about microtransactions. Who cares about a blooming jacket, end quote. One other aspect of Red Dead Online's economy is that Rockstar is clearly playing a long game here. After 5 successful years of Grand Theft Auto Online, the company knows that many players will stick with its games for hundreds of thousands of hours, and the online economy may balance out for those dedicated players. I mean, Grand Theft Auto Online kind of launched at a mess, you know? Like, that's just kind of the way I think these things start. They just kind of start messy. But the writing was on the wall, though, you know. When Take-Two came out and said, hey, microtransactions are going to be in every game going forward, and we saw the more predatory state of them with NBA 2K18, subsequently the lack of improvement with NBA 2K19 in terms of like pricing, not being able to preview items and the like. Grand Theft Auto's whole online is just powered by online currency, and we talked about this just, you know, a few minutes ago on the show. Seeing Red Dead being in the same boat, it's not surprising. It shouldn't be surprising. And hopefully Rockstar can do a really good job listening to the community, breaking stuff down, lowering the price of beans, because they're beans. You got to have them. I love beans. Lima, lentil, soy, and pinto, navy, northern, and garbanzo. Kidney and frijoles negros. I love beans. But it's a really rough start, you know? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Just interesting notes. Beans. Next bit of news is there's an Anthem Alpha start date and access and everything else you need to know. This is from Matthew Reynolds at Eurogamer. The Anthem Alpha gives you early, confidential look at BioWare's upcoming space shooter. What exactly you'll actually be able to see and do is unknown, but if you want to see the game early, this is your best chance ahead of Anthem's release date for February 22nd next year. The Anthem Alpha start date is Saturday, December 8th and Sunday, December 9th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Meanwhile, Anthem Alpha start times have 2 sessions at the same time and end time each day. You can find that on the Eurogamer article here. To sign up for the Anthem Alpha, you have to visit EA's Community Playtest program. It is not tied to pre-ordering or EA Access Origin membership. From there, log into your EA account, agree to the terms, and choose your platform. You can only play on one, so choose wisely. As above, there are multiple sessions, and you will have access to all of them throughout the weekend. It should be noted signing up won't guarantee beta access. EA hasn't confirmed specifically how invites will work, but signing up nice and early might improve your chances when the time comes. Either way, remember you only have until Monday, December 3rd to register. Additionally, accounts from the Japan, Asia, and Korea regions won't have access to the Anthem Alpha test. So there's that. If you want to get early on Anthem, you probably should have signed up by now. But there will be an alpha test. I believe that there's an NDA attached to it, so people shouldn't be discussing it or streaming it, but people are going to do. Yeah, additionally, anything you play will be strictly confidential, so that's no streams or tweets if that impacts your decision to get involved at all. But you fucking know someone's going to do it, so just be on the lookout for people not following NDAs. Last bit of news is Epic Games has posted a first teaser for Fortnite Season 7, with more news to come at the Game Awards. This is from Andy Chalk at PC. It's still relevant. Its official Twitter account tweeted, "A bitter ice spreads, 3 days to Season 7. From the PC Gamer article, 3 days takes us to December 4th, 5, 6, which also happens to be the date of the Game Awards. Gee, I wonder if that's just a coincidence. No, of course not. There will be all sorts of announcements taking place at the Game Awards, so it makes perfect sense that Epic would use it to kick off a new season of Fortnite." Nick Chester, PR over at Epic Games, says, "I can't stress enough how much we have going on this week. Jeff," talking about Jeff Keighley, "isn't talking about Season 7 launch here, tune in." And quote tweets Jeff Keighley's tweet, "Thursday during the Game Awards, don't miss a Fortnite announcement and world premiere from Epic's Donald Mustard, streaming live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time everywhere. And oh yeah, keep your game close. Hashtag worlds will change." This is a lot more complicated than I expected. We already have a pretty good idea about what's coming in Fortnite Season 7, which is to say that James has whipped up a messy conspiracy corkboard that you can dive into here, and links to that. Epic's tease fits his theory that winter is coming to Fortnite. There's an iceberg enveloped in a blizzard that's headed towards the island. Players can see their breath when they're close to the storm, and there's a lot of recently added snow stuff in the game too. Plus, for those of us who live in the northerly part of the world, winter is here in real life too, so the time is certainly appropriate. The Game Awards get underway 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on December 6th, and you can watch it just about everywhere. So, Fortnite people, you've been warned. Watch the Game Awards. I'm excited. Will there be a live stream for the Game Awards with my live reactions? Probably not. I don't want to trust that again. That just the E3 one just soured it for me. I got to figure out what happened there. Maybe if it works, I don't know. We'll see. Meh. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/pressxtoalex. If I do live reactions, it'll be very impromptu and very last minute. New dates for you. There's a PSVR Borderlands 2 VR and Beat Saber bundle launching December 14th. That will be $349.99 US and $449 Canadian. That is the PSVR headset, 2 Move controllers, the camera, Borderlands 2 VR, and Beat Saber. That's pretty awesome. Battlefield 5's Tides of War Chapter 1 will be out December 5th. And those are the only dates I could find in a hurry. So if you want to know what's coming out this week on the PlayStation Store in North America, then we need to do the drop. Now, typically this is where I cut to worst cover art of the week. I can't do that. There's something going on with my monitor connections, and it's not recognizing the extra monitor, so otherwise it was going to look like a total mess and shit show. We're not going to do it. But I can tell you there's a couple here that are definitely worst cover art of the week. First up for your new release for this week is Arcus Path VR. This is coming to PSVR Digital. Trapped in the enchanting simulated world of Arca, it is up to you to find a path through the labyrinth and break free. With intuitive hands-free gameplay, Arcus Path is an atmospheric VR gaming experience. Astrology and Horoscope Premium comes to PS4 Digital, out December 6th. Don't worry, there's not a platinum. 2019 Astrology and Horoscopes Premium is the most luxury astrology, horoscope, and numerology application. Learn your love horoscope and style. Get detailed daily predictions of tomorrow and yesterday based on biorhythms. Why the fuck do I need predictions for yesterday? It's yesterday. It happened. Why? Who is going around predicting yesterday? An asshole. That's who. Get the fuck out. Atelier Mururu, The Apprentice of Arlan DX. PS4 Digital, December 5th. Third release in the Arlan series. Period. Princess of the small frontier country of Arles, Mururu plans to use alchemy to stimulate the growth of her small country. Use synthesis, explore, and battle to increase the population within the time limit and boost the advancement of the kingdom. I'm sorry, I don't think you're stimulating the growth of your small country at all. Atelier Rorona, The Alchemist of Arlan DX, comes to PS4 Digital. First release in the Arlan series. The main character, Rorona, must save her atelier from being closed by the kingdom. Using synthesis, exploration, and battle, gain recognition for the atelier and save it from being closed. God damn it. Atelier Totori, The Adventurer of Arlen, DX, comes to PS4 digital. The second release in the Arlen series, in a search for her missing mother, Totori tours the world of Arlen as an adventurer accompanied by her friends. Use synthesis, explore, and battle to fulfill requests, raise her rank as an adventurer, and venture into brand new lands. Battle Princess Madeline comes to PS4 digital. Battle Princess Madeline is a game that follows the journey of a young knight in training, Madeline, and her ghostly pet dog, Fritzy. They set out on a journey to save her kingdom and her family from the clutches of an evil wizard. Betty Bat's Treasure Hunt comes to PS4 digital, and wouldn't you know it, it is a tie for worst cover art of the week. Play as Betty Bat as she travels the world collecting gems. Tired of living in caves, the bats of the world have gathered up enough gems to buy a castle. You must reach your fellow bats and gather the gems before the birds have a chance to steal them. So the cover art for this is kind of a cartoony, pretty simple cartoon drawing, some word art font that's red with white trim. Says Betty Bat's Treasure Hunt, and below that is a bat being chased by a parrot, being chased by some other bird. I'm assuming maybe a small-breasted pigeon. There's a waterfall, some rocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees in the background on a hill, small shrubbery and a taller tree more in the foreground, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clouds in the sky. Emerald Shores comes to PS Vita digital cross-buy. Emerald, and this is also the second worst cover art of the week winner. Emerald Shores is a challenging 16-bit platformer with a bunch of twists. Level up, take on rewarding side quests, play unique mini-games, unlock secret levels, raise a pet monster, fight an optional mega-leveled beast of a boss, and more. This is cover art, if you want to know. It's a blue sky that has some clouds in the middle and then gradients into a lighter blue sky. And by gradients, I mean it's just two colors put together with a white spot in the middle. A small floating island, and then the word Emerald Shores also in some word art. Emerald is in green with white trim. Shores is blue with white trim. And that's it. There's nothing on the island. It's just, it looks kind of like a butt. Energy Cycle Edge comes to PS4 and PS Vita digital December 5th. Energy Cycle Edge is the sequel to the puzzle game Energy Cycle, which is an incredibly easy platinum. The main idea is the same, but in Energy Cycle Edge, most part of puzzles are 3D, so that is what it says. Most part of puzzles are 3D, so you'll need to monitor the colors within several linked layers, adding a new facet to the familiar gameplay. I'm sure someone will have a platinum shortly, and we can have a guide, and it'll be a very short platinum. Escape Game Aloha comes to PS4 digital. This is third place for worst cover art of the week. You are in a beautiful villa overlooking the sea in Hawaii. Find and combine items, solve puzzles, then escape! After the ending, you can play hide and seek with animals. Can you find them all? O in Aloha is a keyhole. The A, it looks like a volcano with some palm trees going on it. There's an out-of-focus bucket, some sand, an out-of-focus sand castle. Then in the background, the focus is on what looks like a small house of some kind. Gnome's Garden New Home comes to PS4 digital. Gnome's Garden New Home, and continuation of the exciting fantasy strategy game about the world of gnomes, obtain the crystal of eternal light and return prosperity. Guns and Stories Bulletproof VR comes to PSVR digital December 7th. Guns and Stories Bulletproof is a dynamic and fun VR Western shooter that fully immerses players into weird Wild West. Visit beautiful locations with Oldman Bill. It's Old Man Bill, but it's one word. So Oldman Bill, and try many weapons under the rhythm of the dynamic music, jokes, and cynical humor. Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek comes to PS4 digital and retail December 7th. Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek follows the tragic story of the neighbor's family in this dramatic prequel to Hello Neighbor. The game explains events that lead up to the original stealth horror hit Hello Neighbor. Jagged Alliance Rage comes to PS4 digital and retail December 6th. Set 20 years after the first Jagged Alliance, this spin-off lets you experience a road trip into a jungle hell to test your mind and body to the limits. Just Cause 4 comes to PS4 digital and retail. Just Cause 4 sees rogue agent Rico Rodriguez land in Solis to hunt down the truth about his past at any cost. Strap into your wingsuit, equip your fully customizable grappling hook, and get ready to bring the thunder. The Last Remnant comes to PS4 digital December 6th. Last released in 2008, The Last Remnant captured the hearts and minds of gamers with its enthralling story, countless characters, and intricate battle system. Now this classic RPG is back with a remastered version and is coming to PS4 with even more beautiful graphics enhanced via an updated game engine. Life of Pixel comes to PS4 and PS Vita digital cross-buy. Join Pixel as he quests through gaming history, teleporting across the most iconic video game systems in generations past. He'll have to jump, dodge, and play smart if he wants to survive all the traps, puzzles, and enemies waiting to take him down at every turn. Monica y Aguarda dos Coelhos comes to PS4 digital. Monica y Aguarda dos Coelhos is a couch co-op game for 1 to 4 players with a focus on teamwork and cooperation. Featuring the ability to play as a group with many heroes from the Brazilian IP Monica and Friends, everyone has a different role to help defend the castles against the Smudge Horde. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom comes to PS4 digital and retail. Enjoy a colorful action-adventure game made alongside Ryuichi Nishizawa, creator of the original Wonder Boy and Monster World series. The game borrows the best from the classic series to deliver a fresh, modern adventure with fun gameplay, memorable music, and gorgeous hand-drawn animations. Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden comes to PS4 digital. Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden is a tactical adventure game combining turn-based combat with real-time exploration, story, stealth, and strategy. Explore a post-human Earth where mankind has been eradicated by climate change, nuclear war, and pandemics. Will your team of mutants survive the zone? Override Mech City Brawl comes to PS4 digital. No gears, no glory. Control gigantic robots and duke it out across fantastic cityscapes in this 3D mech-based brawler. Epic and explosive battles await with distinctive mechs in the local and online versus mode. Party with co-op with 2 to 4 players and a single-player campaign. Persona 5 Dancing in Moonlight comes to PS4 with VR mode, PS Vita, digital, and retail. Face-to-face with an enigmatic Velvet Room resident, the C's are forced to perform at a mysterious dance party. Test your rhythm-based gameplay skills and dominate the dance floor. Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight comes to PS4 with VR mode, PS Vita, digital, and retail. Face-to-face with enigmatic Velvet Room residents, the Phantom Thieves are forced to perform at a mysterious dance party. Test your rhythm-based gameplay skills and steal some hearts on the dance floor. Persona Dancing Endless Night Bundle comes to PS4 with VR mode, digital, and retail. Test your rhythm game skills with this Ultimate Persona Dancing Bundle. Includes Persona 3 Dancing in the Moonlight, and Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight, and Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Picture Party VR comes to PSVR digital December 5th. Classic draw and guess party fun with a unique VR twist. Gather your friends or family, draw with your head in VR instead of your hands, and have them look at the TV to guess what you are trying to draw. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds comes to PS4 digital and retail December 7th. Land, loot, and outwit your opponents to become the last player standing in a thrilling battle royale game experience full of unexpected adrenaline-pumping moments. Prison Boss VR comes to PSVR digital. Prison Boss VR is a crafting and trading game that Prison Boss VR is a crafting and trading game that turning your VR space into a jail cell. Customize your cell as your reputation grows, earn cash until you can't store it anymore and become the prison boss. Get a proofreader. Subnautica comes to PS4 digital and retail, and would probably be your Alex Derrickson Ask Game of the Week. Subnautica is an underwater adventure game set on an alien ocean planet. A massive open world full of wonder and peril awaits you. Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales comes to PS4 digital. Thronebreaker is a single-player role-playing game set in the world of The Witcher that combines narrative-driven exploration and unique puzzles and card battle mechanics. So those are your games for this week. Which brings us to Trophy Time. Remember, Trophy Time is the part of the show where I try to find a game that you can take from 0 to 100 as fast as possible, because there's no honor among trophy hunters, and trophy sanctity does not exist. Take a look at a couple here. In case you're wondering, the Persona dancing games seem to all have pretty easy platinums. They're sitting at on psnprofiles.com. Persona 4 Dancing All Night sitting at a 57.35%. Persona 3 Dancing in the Moonlight is 67.87%. And Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight is currently at 59.34%. Just so you know. Let's see here. Was not that really many worth jumping into. Then we're going to pull Subnautica, which has 1 bronze, 7 silver, 9 gold, and a platinum. Let me check something here real fast. Take a look. Dive for the very first time. Repair the Aurora reactor. Find the enforcement platform. Find the thermal plant. Find the disease. Find. Cure. Create. Find. Build a habitat. Build. So there's a lot of finding, some building, and then hatch a cuttlefish. So again, contingent on how the game actually plays, the length of it, how difficult those individual items are. It doesn't seem like it's that hard, so Subnautica might be a pretty easy platinum for you. There is one game I'm just going to call attention to, but I'm not going to look at it. Hellfront Honeymoon has 21 bronze trophies. That's it. Fuck you. I'm going to look at the Persona dancing games real fast here, see if there is a platinum completion. That might just be total trophy. So currently on PSN profiles, Persona 4 Dancing All Night currently has 36% platinum achieved. Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight is currently sitting at 60%. And this is among PSN profile users, not actual PSN users. PS5 Dancing in the Starlight is currently at 34.48% among PSN profiles users. So pretty easy. There's 3 easy platinums right there for you. But I think that's going to do it for Trophy Talk this week, which means that brings us to the end of yet another PlayStation Forecast. Remember, you can get the PlayStation Forecast each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/pressx2alex and the podcast service platform of your choice. And don't forget, if you want to get involved in the show, you can always write in to psforums.pressx2alex.com or get at me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressx2alex. Thank you again for joining me. This is great. We're rounding out 2018. Game of the Year is coming here in a couple weeks. We're going to be recording that here soon. Then, of course, the holiday special, which is just going to be a little bit more of an evergreen kind of thing about some fun PlayStation memories I have growing up a PlayStation fan and things like that. Yeah, that is it for me. Remember, you can always follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the show, share it on wherever you can, tell your friends about it, and hopefully, if you're in the Cincinnati area, I will see you December 13th at Taft's Brewporium on Spring Grove Avenue from 5 to 8. Until next time, it has been... Until next time, I'll see you next week. Do the thing.